All right, welcome to the Sweet Talk. Today is Monday, April 19th, 2021. I am your host, Kim Mattina. I am a Google certified trainer and educator, as well as a gold product expert for the Google for Education team. And today, I'm so happy to finally connect with Debbie Tannenbaum. Did I say that right?
You got it.
All right. Debbie comes to us from Fairfax County, Virginia, and she is an elementary school technology specialist. She also has a blog called tannenbaumtech.com. So welcome to the Sweet Talk, Debbie.
I'm so excited to be here. I feel like
Oh,
we've
I
tried to
am
do
too.
this a few times and had issues.
I think we were originally supposed to be scheduled to air a few months ago or weeks ago,
It
and
was
then something
storming
came
and
up.
the internet kept glitching.
Yeah, something happened, and then we had to reschedule.
And then I
So,
was sick.
it's all good,
I'm
life
glad this is
happens.
actually the perfect time. So it worked out.
See, it worked out. Everything happens for a reason. So, welcome to the
Absolutely.
Sweet Talk. I'm so happy to have you on. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So as you said, I am a school-based technology specialist. That's a fancy word for an elementary school tech coach. I am in my third year in that position, and I work at a great school in Fairfax County where I get to help my teachers and my students find ways to use technology to really impact learning. In addition, I've been blogging for about a little over 2 years on my website, and I am right now finishing editing my first book, which is going to come out hopefully next month, and working on as a contributing author for another book because I'm not busy enough.
Yeah, you don't have that much to do.
No, not at all.
Well, so we're going to talk about your book. I know your book Transform, Techie Notes to Make Learning Sticky is more about your journey through, education and how technology has transformed your path to where you're at now. And I think, it's a very, I mean, the little bit that I did look over, the little bit that I did read, it sounds to be more of an inspirational story for for people that are, in my opinion, like coming into the field, or maybe people that are already in the field and want to like shift their position into something different. So I found it to be more like an inspiration. That's the way my opinion about it. But why don't you tell us a little bit about the book and how it actually like started to, like, why did you feel it was important to document your journey?
Well, as I've been growing and learning over the past few years, people have just, when I started blogging, originally I didn't think I had anything to share. And I was doing a book study with Iston, and I was reading Edge and Magic, and I didn't have a website at that point. I didn't have anything. And it was in January of 19. And I sent a website draft to Sam Fessage, who was running the book study. And she looked at it and she's like, you have a story that you should share. It's of ups and downs. It's not like this perfect little path, but it's a story that people need to hear. And so I started blogging. And the longer I've been blogging, I kind of feel like I've become a little bit more vulnerable and sharing a lot of stuff that maybe I wouldn't have felt comfortable with before, but it's actually helped me grow a ton. And last December, I was participating in a Twitter chat for Lead Lab, and they asked, like, what's your goal for next year if you could do anything? And I wrote, I want to write a book. And it was kind of just like something that popped out, and Jay Billy was the one in charge of it. And he was like, go do it. And after somebody kind of called me on it, I was like, wait, why don't I do it? And so I started writing, and I came up, Transform's an acronym. It talks about, turning away from closed doors and then revisiting education and so on. And as I started writing it, it just kind of flowed. And so the first part of it is really, that first chapter is my story. It's how I found technology in education. And as the book continues, it talks about ways we can use the tool. So it has it's a combination of a lot of different things. You have that inspirational piece through my story, but you also have a lot of practical tips and things to help you use technology in a very easy to use way. So it kind of goes between those two realms to really create, something that makes it, really reachable, I guess is the right way. And so after I talk about that, I talk about ways to amplify learning and how to nurture agency. And then I start to really talk about how we can use technology to empower educators. And it goes back to my story again. And until 2017, I hadn't joined Twitter. Like, I thought it was just for celebrities. And I joined. My principal at the time encouraged us, and it changed my life. And so the book kind of talks about that, how to seek connections beyond your school, how to
Sorry,
You're
I
fine.
had to tell the people in the background to like quiet down a little bit.
Not a problem. But
so you joined Twitter in 2017. I was listening, and it changed your life. Go ahead.
Absolutely. And so the book talks about how to seek connections beyond your school, how to find your PLN. When I first started, I didn't really know how to do all those things. And so this book kind of leads you through some ways to get started through some of my experiences. And then at the end, it really talks about how to offer your voice, how to take that next step, take that transformation. And really, everyone has a story to share that only we can share. So it really talks about that and how we can do these things. I started blogging, I started presenting, now I'm writing a book. And then it really talks about how we can all reach beyond our expectations using some of this technology. And then it ends really talking about some of the opportunities that have unfolded in this past year. I have been involved in more free PD in the past year than ever in my entire life. And it's just amazing how the technology provides us that opportunity to do that. I mean, even like what we're doing right now, the technology allows us to do that. And it's just so amazing. And there's been so many experiences that I've had where I've been able to connect with educators, sometimes around the world, because of that technology. And I just think we really have to look at all those opportunities that it gives. And so the book is really trying to give you that idea that if you use technology, it will transform, because it's going to reveal opportunities for both you and your students.
So 3 key words here. I want to say, you said practical, you said vulnerable, and you said opportunity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those 3 words kind of like just sunk into my head as you were talking to me. So practical, given meaningful examples. Is that what you mean for teachers to use in the classroom?
So like one of the chapters talks about my Transform Tech tools, and they're tools that give you opportunities that are really versatile that we can use with any age, and that really do something to the learning environment that can't be done without it. And so what I do in the book is I talk about those. I have QR codes that link to some of the trainings I've done. So if people want to learn, I have some of my big, those things in there, and gives examples in practice. So I'm trying to make it so that when people try to use a tech tool, they can see, possible examples. And all the tools that I've picked are tools that I feel like have more than one use. I don't like to pick tools that you can just use for one purpose, because educators have enough on their plates right now. A tool like Google Slides is something that teachers can use for a multitude of things. And so, really focusing on those ones that are going to give you the biggest bang for your buck are really important versus, trying something new just for the sake of trying something new. Let's, see, I love looking at different ways to use regular tools.
I totally agree. I think practical is good while trying to keep it simple,
Mm-hmm.
so that, people don't get intimidated by it. So the next key term was vulnerable. That stood out to me. So you said that you're blogging more because you are, it's part of your learning, and you want to share, but why did you say you're vulnerable? Is it because you're showing people that you're not somebody that knows it all, or is it
Well,
something that, like, so define that, because I think it's important. I think because, in my opinion, I don't know it all. I'm
no,
not, there's no possible way anybody can know it all.
no, and
So, and I don't mind being vulnerable. Like, I'll tell people,
yeah,
hey, I don't know it. Let me look it up. I'll get back to you. I'll even ask the kids. So I think it's important that people see that true side of you so that they can relate
absolutely.
to you.
And I feel like with the vulnerability, like we need to model for our students that like we don't know everything and that sometimes have to, we aren't always going to be successful. And I feel, my teachers are my students in a lot of ways too. And so I think it's really important for them to see that vulnerability and know that, yes, I don't know everything. There are many times where I do something where I'm like, I can't believe I just did that. But I've really learned to go past the fear in the last year, especially the last 6 months, to go past that fear and see what's on the next side, kind of just looking at it as leveling up. Because I had been working on the book, and then one day, Darren, who's my publisher, posted, do you have a story? Do you want to share it? I sent him a DM expecting nothing. And now he's publishing my book. And I find that so many of my interactions are me just going ahead and taking a chance on something that it might happen, it might not happen, but if I don't try, I'll never know.
Exactly. Like, that is so accurate, because if you don't take the risk or you don't try it, you'll never know. So,
Absolutely.
don't shut yourself down without getting out of the gate, right? Like,
Yeah.
just put yourself out there and see, who responds, because there's more people that are interested than you think.
Absolutely. And like, through the book process, I sent my manuscript to a lot of people, and some of them I'm writing, I'm like, they're never going to want to read my book. Well, they not only read my book, but they wrote me these glowing, testimonials. And like, I'm sitting there like, I knew my book was good, but reading what other people think, then it's not, it's just like, wow. Like, and sometimes you don't know if you have something special, and then you start to see other people are seeing it. And, it's just an amazing process, because writing a book was not something growing up. I was like, I would have never thought of it. I didn't even discover I liked educational technology till my first year of teaching. So, I originally wanted to be an elementary school French teacher.
Oh, wow. You totally took a 360.
I mean,
Wow.
technology is kind of a language in its own way.
Well, yeah, I guess yeah, in its own way, it definitely is its own language, because you have to learn something new, right? So,
Well, I also
this
feel
is
like
true.
as we teach kids things like like icons and processes, like we are teaching them like a language in a lot of
Yeah.
ways. Like we have to, teach it step by step. And so I feel like some of that stuff still fits in with it.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good point. I'll agree with that. That's a good point. But so the last buzzword that that stood out to me was opportunity. So, opportunity, define how you feel opportunity is around you when you use technology, because that's what you were saying before. Without the technology, we don't have the opportunity
Yeah.
to do what we're doing right now,
Yeah.
or to use tech in the classroom the way we've been
Yeah.
during the pandemic. So,
I mean,
how
think about if we hadn't had this technology, we would have been sending packets home to students.
yeah.
I mean, yes, it was so hard at the beginning. March was so hard. There's just no way around it. But I look at the teachers I work with and the growth that they've made, and I am astounded. I mean, and like they just grew by such leaps and bounds. And it wasn't just my teachers, it was my instructional assistants at my school. So because we had access to all these things, and we were kind of forced to innovate in a lot of ways. We grew so much. And I'm hoping that some of those opportunities that were revealed are going to continue past COVID. And, you know, I don't want everybody, when COVID's over, to go back to the way it was necessarily, because there are amazing things, thinking about how you can, you know, I had never Zoomed before all this happened. And now, you know, Zoom is a really great resource, or whatever synchronous platform, Google Meet, whatever you're using, to connect with people. You can bring people into your classroom that are in a different part of the country or a different part of the world. You can really give up that. That's just one example. Or going into a, you know, not using Zoom. Smithsonian Learning Lab has an amazing collection where kids can go to a museum sitting at their desk and look at things and make collections. And so I think that those things are important. I can get together with other educators from, you know, sometimes around the world, and we can sit and have a discussion about things that are, you know, that are on our minds.
Yeah.
So there's so many things that we can do, and it's just amazing. I mean, Pear Deck's another great example, or Nearpod. We had all these kids at home. They could have been sitting doing nothing. We have this piece of software that's allowing us to make sure that we can check on each person's response. It's that kind of opportunity that I just really think is key, because we want to make sure that we're using it to engage our students, because there's so many distractions in our world. Engaging our students is hard work, and we have to work harder than ever. But maybe we can take some of the things that they naturally like and find ways to link them to what we're doing with education.
Yeah, well said. I couldn't have said it better myself. That it is hard work, right? Trying to keep your kids engaged and
especially if you're teaching in two places, like we're concurrent right now. Talk about a task.
Yeah, so like you're multitasking and you're doing all these things, and you know you want to prepare quality lessons and activities. So you know during this time in education, using the tech is a must. You know, so it definitely does bring opportunity. But I do find sometimes I do need to reach out, because you were saying like about Twitter. Reach out to, you know, the Twitterverse, and, you know, ask questions and connect with people there, because that's been a huge help in my world as well. So if you're not on Twitter, I would really highly recommend that you start, you know, creating a profile and get on Twitter as well, because there's so many people that you can interact with that can help you very quickly.
That's 100% true. Yeah.
You know,
but even like Facebook has come such a long way. Facebook has all of these really great communities where people help each other collaborate, and you know, and I know Instagram's starting to do more with that. And then you have, if you're an iPhone person like I am, Clubhouse has become a really fun and great way to learn as well. I can't believe that, like, that's something that I've been enjoying, but I've learned a ton on Clubhouse. And so I think that, but it can be overwhelming. And you know,
I think you have to find balance, right? Like, you definitely have to find balance, because like I know some people are on TikTok and they're on Snapchat, and I'm like, I'm not doing any of that stuff. And they might have like great educators on there doing things and expressing, you know, different ideas, but it's just, you got to find that balance, like what's going to work for you, and that you don't get burnt out from an overload.
For a while, I was posting my blogs on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and Instagram, and it was getting to be too much. And when I looked in my analytics, I was like, Facebook and Twitter is where I get most of my people going. And so that's really what I've concentrated on. And every once in a while, I'll go on Instagram or LinkedIn, but it just gets to be too much when you're, you know, at least I've found when I'm trying to be in too many spaces at once. And I don't want to automate things. I really want to still have that personalized feel.
Yeah. It's important, you know, so the name of your book is Transform. Is that the name of the book? Techie Notes to Make Learning Sticky. Is that the caption? Like, what's the actual title?
That's like, there's the byline.
That's the actual title?
Yeah. So, but transform, like I said, is an acronym. So each chapter is a letter of
Oh,
transform.
okay. Now I get it. So, okay. All right. Now it's coming back to me. Okay. All right. So that's okay. Ugh.
It's okay.
Information overload.
I totally get it.
Okay. So, when is the book going to be out?
We're hoping next month. We're finishing up editing. I'm the next one on the road to awesome list to get published. Rob
Okay.
Breyer, his book was just published last week, and it's a great book as well. I'm really proud of my fellow RTA authors. But yeah, we're working on it. We're in editing and making some good progress. So I'm hoping it's coming out in May.
All right. Well, you got
I
to
keep
definitely let us
campaigning for it
know.
to come out on my birthday. Like, that's my thing. I'm like, maybe it'll come out on my birthday, and my book birthday will be the same as mine, but we'll see.
We'll see, right? Hey, that would be a nice birthday present.
It really would. You know?
So now that your journey, we were talking a little bit before we aired live this year with the pandemic and tech coaching and stuff like that. Things changed, and where do you see yourself next year, as far as helping educators in your building or your district? Like, where do you see yourself going forward in the next school year? Do you think people are going to be still really heavily dependent on the tech, or do you see them unplugging a little bit and doing a little bit of paper-based? Because paper-based isn't bad either.
No.
So what do you like? Where do you see yourself in the whole screaming of things?
Well, my school we were technically going one-to-one next year, but we're really one-to-one now. But our school district is officially putting elementary in that one-to-one program. And, we are going to have some changes in our district. Some of our programs we use are changing a little bit. And so I'm hoping one of the things we did last summer that was really successful is we did 2 weeks of optional summer training. And we got a lot of people to come in when they were fresh to really learn things. And then they were more willing to try things in the fall. And people have grown so much this year. So I just want to continue to capitalize on, the gains we've made, because it's been amazing. I mean, my kindergarten teachers are Pear Deck masters. My first grade teachers do amazing things with Google Slides, and I can go on and on. And so I just want to really continue that progress. And in addition, I've been doing some presenting, which has been fun, but it's all been virtual. And I hope next year we'll get to do some in person, because I've met all these people who I have these great relationships with, and I've never met them face to face.
In your district?
No, I'm talking about like outside of my district.
Outside. Okay.
Like,
okay.
I'm part of I'm a Teach Better ambassador. And so I have a lot of relationships within that. And I had a death in my family a few weeks ago, and like, they're like my friends, like, we're close. And so, I can't wait to actually get a chance to hang out and meet with them, not just on a Zoom.
Yeah, I feel you there. I'm looking forward to like face-to-face conferences again. The Zoom conferences or the online conferences are just not the same experience. Just not. I'm not as enthused to
There's
attend
advantages and
as if I
disadvantages.
was. I'd rather be face-to-face. Let's just put it that way.
I mean, I'll be honest, like last year I did 10 virtual conferences. This year I'm already at 11, I think. I would have never had the opportunities to, share and present to all it. I have 4 kids. One of them's in college.
You're not going to be able to travel, right?
So I'm hoping, that I'm going to try to pick a couple, but I hope that maybe we'll still have some hybrid options, because I feel like I went to ISTE, and that was a really hard thing to just set that money aside to afford when it was in Philly. And that was me taking a train. But I don't want PD to be so cost prohibitive for educators. I really feel like it's important that educators can access ways to learn, not just within their district, but just good teaching in general and good teaching with technology where it's not a barrier. And if you're, if you're from a district that has lots of money and can send you, you're like, oh, I can go, but then other people are spending $1,000 or more to go to a conference.
Yeah.
I think that there's a really good lesson in the fact that we were able to do some things virtually, and people were able to go to things that they could have never afforded to go and learn things. And some of the PD that I've gone to that's been the best PD has been the free PD, honestly.
Oh, definitely. I think the free PD is the best because I don't know, I think it's just more authentic,
Yeah.
I just find it's more practical sometimes. And then if I don't like it virtually, I can leave and go to the next one, the next session. Like, it did have some advantages. I'm not saying it doesn't. It's just that, like, I don't know, maybe it was me. Like, I've had so much PD online that maybe when I was attending, because I went to FETC, I went to ISTE virtually. And like you said, I wouldn't have been able to do any of that stuff. But maybe when I attended both of them at that time, maybe it was just way too much. And I, like, it was like a balance thing,
FETC was free this year. So, I mean,
FETC was free. That's why I did it. And then
me too.
I got the ticket. I Book Creator gave me a ticket for ISTE, so I was able to attend that. And then I attended the Google Product Expert Summit. It was like all around the same time.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like when it rains.
It's just like, yeah, and I think it was just, for me, I was just like, okay, I just need a break, But I still rather be face to face because I miss networking with people. Like, I like bumping into people and seeing people and like actually like talking to people. I miss that. That totally isn't the same dynamic virtually,
It's not. And I'm hoping that, like, in the coming year, to find like one or two conferences that I really feel like are passionate about, that I want to attend, and really focusing on them, because I know that I won't be able to do as many, but I know, at least looking into the fall, the conferences that I've applied to so far, almost all of them are either virtual or hybrid. So, it'll be interesting to see. Like FETC, their application is up, and it'll be interesting to see how they handle things next year, and, other conferences.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think everybody had they had to adjust accordingly, but now the thing is, like, how are they going to make money? They still have to charge you,
Right.
But, you're not paying for the expense to go there and sleep over or food or whatever, you know what I mean? So
it'll be interesting to see how it all comes together.
Yeah.
Knowing that, ISTE this year is virtual,
Oh, it is? Oh, next year, right? Yeah.
In 2020,
2022, right?
No, this year. ISTE 21 is virtual.
Oh, when is it? June, right?
It's at the end of June, like it always is. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Went back to June. That's right. Okay. Oh, it is virtual.
In November because of COVID.
Yeah, I'm just so like, now I remember seeing the websites and different things. It is virtual. Yeah. I don't know. I can't keep up so much anymore.
Well, I have a spreadsheet to keep up with all of it because there's so much to go. There's so much happening.
Too much.
Like, yeah, my spreadsheet is crazy, but I want to make sure that, one, I get a chance to interact with other educators, and two, that I get to, share some of the things I've learned, but I also learn so much and get so much from talking to other educators. So it's a two-way street.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I agree with you there. That's the part that I miss about going to the face-to-face conferences, just sitting down, having a cup of coffee and talking with people, like just learning from them,
Yeah. And I definitely loved that one. Because last one I went to was ISTE in 19. So I definitely loved everything about that. But when ISTE wasn't supposed to be, when it was supposed to be face-to-face, I looked at the cost when going to California, and I was like, there's just no way.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Believe me, I only went to ISTE when it was in Philly. So I went twice, and it was just for a day because of the cost. It's too much money. So I won't travel and I won't put out the expense to go to a big conference like that because my school's not going to pay for it, and I'm not going to put out that expense. So,
Yeah.
I just go for the day when it comes into Philly, and because I'm in New Jersey,
Right.
and I'll go, and I'm like thankful that I go for the day and I learned some stuff. But this year, it was nice to have it virtual because I was able to go to all
Yeah.
4 days. But
Yeah.
we'll see. I
Well,
mean,
it
I
turned
think
out.
they're gonna have to adjust everything.
In Philly, I was lucky my school paid for me to go. And so I just had to pay for lodging and food. And this year, I'm fortunate that my virtually, well, one I'm presenting, which is exciting, but also my school's going to take care of it. And we'll see, so, but that
That's
hasn't
good.
always been the case. So, sometimes you luck out and your school's going to help you out, and sometimes it doesn't. And so you just kind of have to see how it goes. But
You have to pick and choose sometimes.
you do, and I've kind of gotten spoiled in not having to pick and choose and being able to pretty much go to everything, which isn't all, I know that means I'm not always getting the most out of each experience, because if I'm presenting 2 or 3 times, it's hard because I'm also still trying to work because it's so hard to find subs on top of that.
Yeah. It's a balance thing. There's that word again.
Yep, absolutely. Balance is tough.
It's tough, that's for sure. Well, I'm so glad that we were able to chat tech and talk about your book. And I really wish you the best of luck with your book when it comes out. Hopefully in May. I'll keep my fingers
Yeah,
crossed
that's
for
my
you.
goal. We'll see how that
Well,
goes. That's the goal.
yeah, I mean, it's you got a lot of exciting things going your way. So I wish you the best, and make sure you stay in touch.
I absolutely will. This was really great talking to you. I'm glad we got to do it this time.
Yeah, me too. This was fun. So I'm gonna just share my screen really quick.
Okay.
Okay, so if you'd like to visit my website, it's thesweettalk.com, and you can check out the latest episode here on the homepage, and the podcast will be here as well. If you'd like to support my mission and help me pay it forward to other educators, you can become a sponsor of the Sweet Talk. You can fill out this form, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. You can also be a guest on my show. You can fill out the guest inquiry form. Right now, I'm scheduling guests for, I think it's the summer in August right now. So you can certainly fill out the form and we can get you scheduled. If you'd like to check out any past episodes, you can click on the episode page here and you can check out the episode list. The YouTube link and the show notes will be displayed here in the list for the episode. The Jamboard page, if you need some Jamboard inspiration, you can check out the Jamboard page and check out the presentation that other teachers shared with me on how they're using Jamboard in the classroom. And if you'd like to share an idea with me, you can fill out the form here. And you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel. Listen to the Sweet Talk on Spotify, Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcast as well. And coming back to Debbie.
I love Jamboard. Like, that's one of my new favorite tools, but they need to add the capability to link.
I know.
If they did that, it would be a
on
game
that.
changer.
Yeah, I'll tell you, actually, Alice Keeler and I wrote another book about Jamboard, and hopefully that's coming out next month as well. So we may have to celebrate both of our books.
Awesome. Yeah. Jamboard is definitely something I've been exploring a lot more recently. And I'm really enjoying using it.
Yeah, it's so I think sometimes simple is best. And I think it's just a simple interface with basic functionality.
Yeah.
That you can enhance it if you want to, but you don't have to. And it gets the job done, So
Yeah. I like adding the backgrounds on now that we can do that. That's definitely
that was definitely a huge upgrade. That was a big changer, So yeah, I totally agree. But yeah, we'll talk Jamboard maybe next time.
Yeah, because Jamboard's a whole discussion in and of itself.
All right, everyone. Until next time, have a great evening. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.
Bye.